Have you ever wanted to learn to cook but just didn't know where to start?
Well, we're the guys from Sorted Food and we've teamed up with Co-op to create Now Cook It.
A free online course to show you how to up your food game.
So head over to Now Cook It to get started, but for now, check out this video from the course.
Loaded baked potato.
Now this is cheap and cheerful but seriously satisfying. We're going to show you how to make the best jacket potato, and obviously it begins with a couple of spuds. So preheat your oven to 190 degrees Celsius and then we're going to deal with the potatoes. What we want to do is prick them with a fork so they don't explode.
Yep.
I have made this mistake before. As they cook, if you don't, there's a chance the skin will burst, they make a loud bang, so just give them a little prick and then rub them in a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper.
So putting the oil on the outside of the potato, does that mean it's going to get a nice crispy skin?
Exactly that. So if you're thinking about something like a pork belly or something, there's a little bit of fat on the outside, that's the bit that's going to go crispy. A potato is very dry, so give it that oil basting, and it's just going to go incredible. So you're going to want to put these directly onto the oven rack in about the middle of the oven, but make sure you've got a tray underneath to catch any of the oil or potato juices that drip, and they're going to need about 45 minutes. So it takes some time, but it's not your time because you don't have to sit and watch them.
Oh, we can do anything we want.
I mean, you could sit and watch them, but
Don't do that.
there's better things in
Do
life to do.
something else. Do anything else. After 45 minutes, you want to turn your spuds upside down and give them another 45 minutes to cook until crispy perfection, which gives us an ideal amount of time to take a tomato sauce and pimp it to the extreme.
So we're going to begin with the classic tomato sauce. So grab yourself a small white onion. You want to top and tail it, halve it and peel it, and then dice it really finely. At the same time, you want to be looking at 1 clove of garlic that needs peeling and chopping.
I thought we were just going to look at it. Perfect, thank you.
And now to cook them, grab yourself a pan that's big enough for a couple of tins. You want a tin of tomatoes and a tin of beans later on. Place about a tablespoon of olive oil in, and then your onion and garlic go in. You want to cook it for about 5 minutes over a medium heat with a lid. That way they sweat off. So frying from underneath with the oil and steaming and keeping all the moisture in because of the lid. One of the biggest mistakes with tomato sauce is that sometimes the onions are still crunchy and raw before you add in the wet stuff. Soft and sweet, that's what you're looking for. So a good 5 minutes with the steam and the frying, stirring occasionally.
Once our onion and garlic has had 5 minutes to sweat off, it's time to veer away from our classic tomato sauce. And we're going to spice it up a little bit with some paprika and some Tabasco sauce. Now, depending on how hot you like it, you can add as much or as little of this as you like. Then, what?
2 drops?
Maybe, yeah, perfect. Then we're going to add in some wine. Now, a classic tomato sauce will probably go for white wine, but we want a really deep flavour for this, so we're going to go for some red wine.
You want about a glass, and the idea is to add it in and then reduce it by about half the liquid. So without the lid, you want it all to bubble off. Now, if you don't want to add wine, you don't have to. It's an optional step. It adds loads of flavour, but if you've got a bottle open, splash some in. If you haven't got one open and you want to open one for dinner, it's perfect going here. But that will need to reduce down. It'll probably take another few minutes before it's reduced by half.
Now, I know what you're thinking. This tomato sauce has a distinct lack of tomatoes so far.
Allow me to help. Next up, an entire tin of tomatoes. You can use fresh tomatoes in tomato sauce, but tin gives you a really consistent quality product. So that's going to go in, along with a tin of beans. Now these we have just drained into a sieve and run with cold water. We're using Bolotti beans, but you can use whatever beans you've got in the cupboard or you prefer, kidney beans or butter beans. They go in as well. And then you want to basically heat the mixture to a bubble again and cook it for about 10 minutes until you've got the consistency of a good sauce. Basically, you're making homemade baked beans.
But
better. While our beans reduce down to the consistency we want, there's a few things you can get on with. Number 1, take a couple of spring onions and finely slice them. Number 2, cheddar cheese, grate that up. And number 3, put a big pan of water on to boil. Now, we've given you lots of times when it comes to cooking, but they're really just a guideline because it will vary. What you should be looking for instead is that kind of consistency. When you run a spoon through it, you should be able to just see the bottom of the pan before it fills itself in. And now we elevate the tomato sauce. Same as we would with the classic tomato sauce, a little drop of vinegar. Use whatever you've got, white wine vinegar, red wine vinegar, cider vinegar, just about a teaspoon, and a tiny pinch of sugar, and then season to taste. Both of those just transform your beans. As for the potato, you can take it out of the oven, and what you're looking for is something that is both crispy on the outside, but also if you take a table knife and just poke it right into the middle, there should be no resistance. Soft inside but nice and golden and crispy on the outside. And the very final thing we're going to do is cabbage to serve with it. So just take the outer leaves off of the cabbage, and you want to cut the stalk out and then slice it up. All of that can go into rapidly boiling water. Now it's pretty key here that that water is boiling because it's a green vegetable, you want to keep its vibrancy. That will only need a couple of minutes, which gives you plenty of time to plate up everything else. A dollop of creme fraiche, a sprinkle of our cheese.
Some spring onion.
Absolutely. Serve the cabbage alongside, season to taste, and there we go. Everything you need to know to make incredible loaded baked potatoes.
Yes.
Some of the beans, some of the cheese.
It is one of those meals where you need everything on a forkful.
And with the crispy skin, you get all the texture as well. A little bit of the crispy spring onion. But everything else, so good. Worth going the extra effort to make your own beans.
Definitely. Now, it is worth saying, if you're looking at this for a midweek meal and you don't have an hour and a half to cook your potato, there is a way to cheat. You can put the potato in a microwave for 8 minutes after giving it a little prick, and then just finish it off in the oven whilst you make your tomato sauce. It'll be good, not quite as good, but it'll still be good.
Not quite as crispy,
No.
but you're going to get there a little easier. If you want to give this a go, the full recipe and details are available down below.